Hello, my name is Princess Idongesit, and today I will be talking to you about the gaming culture in Africa and the part that we all play in nurturing it. But first, a little backstory. How did I get here? I graduated from college with a finance major, but currently I am the co-founder of Arutu. It's an African initiative gaming company, and I am also a game writer stroke game designer. The reason why I decided to talk about the gaming culture in Africa is because I feel it is underrated, or it has so much potential, but that potential is yet to be seen in the manner in which it's being treated, or the manner in which opportunities are being made available to it. A bit of a backstory. I think I've said backstory a little much, a little too much. Okay, so when I was younger, I used to love games. I used to love gaming. I mean, I would go to viewing centers and play FIFA, and in fact, those days were they filled with a lot of joy for me. I mean, but then I had to grow up because I didn't even know that it was possible for games to be created by Africans. I mean, I thought robots made games because these games were just, oh my god, they were enthralling, they were beautiful, and I did not see the possibility of humans, let me just say humans, creating games. So when I grew up, I had to, I mean, get a job in the real world. And so I chose finance as my major. But then I still had a few more friends who were gaming enthusiasts as I was, and we decided to form a community, and we decided to teach ourselves things, how to do game development, game design, game art, animations, illustrations, and we had a boot camp. So after that boot camp, it got me thinking. I thought to myself, I still really, really love gaming, so why not just continue? Why not just create games? And for that, we needed funding. So we decided to start applying to places, and we applied to the IGD prototype recipient fund, and we got some funding, and it was amazing. The joy, the everything was just beautiful, basically. And it made me realize that opportunities are possible. I mean, there are basically endless opportunities in this gaming sphere. So far, the Conquer of Words is almost ready. That's our first game. It's almost ready, and I have participated in two other game jams. We created Veg Patch. On that game, I was the writer for that game. It was part of the Safe Spaces Jam, Safe Spaces Jam input. So we made a game. Why should the African gaming industry be considered? I mean, if you look at the other exports that we've had in our country from Africa, from the music to the food to even the football industry, I mean, it shows you how much potential we have. Now our artists are earning Grammys. Their music is getting to billboards worldwide, and it's just beautiful to see. And this is the same thing that can happen in the gaming industry if we are given as much of an opportunity as we should. I mean, 60% of the people in Africa are youth. We are the youngest continent in the world, and that is saying a lot. And not just even the population. I mean, there are a lot of people who are actually vested and interested in games. I have two cousins, Ethan and Chotam, and they are crazy. I mean, they can game for hours, and they would literally sit down with their iPads and just keep gaming. There's an Xbox in the house, Xbox 360, and they use that a lot as well. I mean, just last month, it was during the GDC conference. I was talking to one of my friends and watching the conference at the same time, and he entered my room and said, "Oh, what are you doing, Nancy Princess?" And I'm like, "Oh, I am watching this gaming conference and it's just really nice." And then he said, "Oh, do you know how to make a game?" I said, "Yes, as a matter of fact, I do." And he said, "Oh, I have a very cool game idea in my head and I really think that it will be fun." I said, "Okay, let's hear it." And I recorded him and he spoke for a long time. I think 20-25 minutes, talking about this game. He was so driven. And he was like, "Oh, this is how it's going to be. It's going to be this person, they're going to be fighting for food and water and this and this." And it was really eloquent for a child. Now imagine if this talent is nurtured right from this age. The enormous opportunities he could have. But what's going to happen is, at a point, he'll have to grow up just in the same way I did, or I thought I did, and get a real job. And then his gaming aspirations are lost forever. Another reason why Africa is ready for a thriving gaming culture is because we have a lot of mobile interference now. Mobile games are the in thing. I mean, you get into a bus or you get on the train, half the people there are playing games to distress from a very tiring day. I mean, there was this era that we had a boom in Candy Crush, we had a boom in Farm City. Those games really just enthrall and captivate you, and they also help you distress. So yes, that's another reason why I feel that Africa is definitely ready for the gaming sphere, for a thriving gaming culture. Now, what part do we play in ensuring that this culture thrives and blossoms into what it has the potential of being? The first on the list will probably be access to sponsorships and access to funding. I mean, it's crazy expensive building a game here in Africa, from the data to equipment to access to skills to listen. It's a lot. Most games that you have seen, even after they have been created, because there is no marketing budget, they go nowhere, because the funds would have probably been exhausted in the creation of the game. So if we can form a way to have a lot more access to funding or access to opportunities, then you would see that ideas are capable of becoming really fat revenue streams, because the market is here. People are ready. The awareness is already top notch. So all we need is a lot more funding to be able to create games that both cater to like local content and custom games. And another thing that even makes that important is the fact that we would need access to a wide range of skill sets. I mean, game creation is more than just game development. It's more than it's a whole plethora of game design, game art, the animation, the illustrations, the quality assurance. A whole lot goes into games. And for the creation of a top-notch game, it's important that each of these things or roles that are supposed to be played are played perfectly. And they are played in such a way that they cater to the central theme of the game. And this is not even possible if funding is not available. Because, I mean, you are struggling with trying to get your day-to-day expenses sorted. I mean, you will be so distracted from creating the game. So that's why access to more funding opportunities is important. Another thing is Partnerships and collaborations. I mean, we may not have all the skills we need to create the kind of games that we want or we have in our head or we want to play. But with partnerships and collaborations with already existing gaming studios who have these resources, the game ends up being created, and that basically is the end goal. And getting people to play it, marketing, all that is also made possible. And the joy of every game developer is when you see that your game is being appreciated, your game is being played, your game is everywhere. That is a joy that cannot even be quantified. Another thing is inclusive diversity and equity when creating games. Now, it's one thing to say, okay, we want you to make games, or we have given you access to make games. But when you look at it, I mean, is the access inclusive? Is it for everybody? I mean, just before African creators had like space, it was a bit difficult getting into the gaming industry. Now, thankfully, that's been broken down, but it does need to be broken down a lot more. I mean, we need to have more hackathons, more game jams that help build up the skill set of African developers, African gaming developers. We also need more internship positions. I mean, we do not have standard gaming studios here in Africa, so we need a place where we can go to learn, and then we come back, and then we can use those skills and help build what we know is possible from the ground up. Another thing that we need is much more brand endorsement through sponsorships and brand support for our project. I mean, if we had brands that came together and said, okay, these people are doing something great, let's help them out, let's contribute, let's donate, let's endorse, let's sponsor. I mean, we'll be a lot more open to creating much more beautiful content, and the culture will thrive. Another big thing actually is competitive play, esports. And while we have a lot of people who want to show off their competitive skills, they just are not enough. There are not enough competitions that help or that are open to Africans living in Africa, not Africans abroad, Africans living in Africa. I mean, of course, there are a few like Feja and VS Gaming, but it's important for us to have a lot more. This helps us put our esports, our competitive play, on the pedestal where it should be, right along with Asia and the USA. And it's just important to us that we get up there, we are visible, we are seen. Another thing that's also important is we need to be able to catch them young. I mean, we have young children, or even people who are just about to get into the university. So today I have spoken to you about the potential the gaming industry has and how important it is that we build a thriving gaming culture here in Africa. I've also shown you the challenges we have in doing that: lack to access funds, lack of much more competitions, or lack of competitions basically, or enough competitions. Inclusive diversity and equity is still at an all-time low. And there's the high cost of creating games and lack of partnership and collaborations. These are all problems, but then what part do we actually play in ensuring that it's possible for us to replicate the same success that we've had in our music industry, in our export, our food, our football industry, into our gaming industry? And for this to happen, we need to build a thriving gaming culture. How can this happen? And what part do we play in ensuring that this happens? The problems: there's a high cost of entry, high cost of creating games. I mean, there's the market, there's the interest, there are the people that are willing to play, but we do not have enough funding to create these games. We need a whole lot more partnerships and collaborations with already existing studios to help us hone the skill sets that we have. That way, we can even have access to the skills that we need to create these games, to make them standard, the same ones that people would pay to play. Now, it's also important for us to catch them young. There are a lot of people who are interested in gaming, but because they do not have opportunities or they do not know how to create a game, and they are quite young, but they have the interest and they have the eagerness to learn. So organizing much more game jams and hackathons would help these people, and it will help them to be able to hone skills that they have or that they want to get. Another thing is inclusive diversity and equity. It is currently at an all-time low. We need to be able to accept custom-based local games and play them and market the hell out of them and ensure that they are being given the same visibility as we give other standard games, because these games are also great. They just do not get enough visibility.